Whilst you've been wandering around Vardenfell, combating the threat of Dagoth-Ur, you may have heard some rumours about a mysterious island called Solstheim. It is a land to the northwest of Morrowind, and from what you've heard, it promises adventure. After a short boat ride from the village of Skaal, you find yourself upon Solstheim's chilly shores. You disembark at Fort Frostmoth, the only Imperial fort on the island. After speaking with the captain, Folks Carius, it becomes clear that there isn't something quite right. You hear that bears and wolves infest the island, and that the Imperial soldiers are becoming mutinous. The captain dispatches you to find out why the men have become so restless at the fort, and after a brief investigation, it becomes clear that a priest called Antonius Nuncius has been stealing all the alcohol from the supply shipments to the island. He has been hiding away all of the sujama and other beverages in order to cause discontent in the hopes that the captain will be overthrown and that he will be reposted to Vardenfell, which is a much nicer milieu than Solstheim. Yet, speaking again to the captain will reveal that the garrison is plagued by smugglers who are stealing weapons from the fort. You are able to choose between two soldiers to aid you in the investigation. Lucius is intelligent but fairly weak, whilst Artoria is an effective fighter but lacking in the brains department. Either way, you will soon hear from the resident blacksmith that some of the soldiers have been overheard talking about the Gandrung caverns. Investigation of these caverns, which are to the northeast of the fort, will reveal that there is indeed a crime syndicate on the island. The cave is infested with defect Imperials and stashes of weapons. Yet, upon returning to tell the captain the news, the fort will be partially destroyed and Captain Carius will be nowhere to be seen. After some investigation, you learn that the attack was made by a number of werewolves. The Skaal village in the far north of the island may hold some answers, so you head there on the suggestion of some of the surviving Imperial soldiers. The journey to the village is long and arduous, but at the summit of the northeasternmost mountain, you will eventually reach your destination. Speaking to the chieftain, Tharstan Heartfang will reveal that the Skaal were not responsible for this attack, and nor do they know who was. If you have the bones of one of the Skaal's ancestors, which one of the soldiers would have given you when you left the fort earlier, then Tharstan will become more trustworthy. He says that if you restore the oneness of Solstheim, which the Imperials have disturbed, then the Skaal may help you. The oneness is where the Skaal derive their power from. It allows them to achieve union with their deity called the Allmaker, so it is essential for them that this oneness is restored. To do this, you need to perform 6 rituals at the various stones dotted around the island. Collectively, this task is called the Ritual of the Gifts. Completing each ritual involves performing some sort of dangerous task, such as defending a bear at the behest of the Beast Stone or investigating some deep underwater cavern, which is the task the Water Stone demands. Completing these rituals activates the stones and restores the power of the Skaal. However, performing these rituals does not automatically induct you as an equal into Skaal society. Further actions and tests must be done. Speaking again to Tharstan will reveal how you now must complete the test of wisdom so that your mind can become one with the Skaal. This trial involves solving a case of theft. Engar Icemane has been accused of theft by Rigmor Halfhand, who says that furs have been stolen from his house. Icemane completely denies the accusations, and he is actually bemused as to why Halfhand, who he has never disliked, suddenly turned on him. Investigation of Icemane's house, where his wife, Rissy, can be found, will reveal a letter under Rissy's pillow. It is a love letter from Halfhand. After speaking again to Rissy, you learn that she had a brief affair with Halfhand a while ago, but that the man has been pursuing her ever since. In an attempt to detach her from Icemane, Halfhand falsely accused him of theft. In Skaal society, the only punishments for stealing are exile or sacrifice to the wolves. After reporting your findings to the chieftain, you have to choose what Halfhand's sentence will be. Choosing to sacrifice Halfhand is the better choice, as Tharstan then deems you are wise, as sacrifice to the wolves is preferable to exile, as a sacrifice purifies the soul. The tests of wisdom and loyalty now complete, it is time for the test of strength. Tharstan instructs you to head to Lake Fjalding, just south of the Skaal village, and meet with Korst Windeye, the shaman. There is a spout of flame erupting from the water, and the shaman will tell you that he thinks that it is the work of the Draugr Lord that inhabits the caverns beneath the lake. After fighting your way through hordes of Draugr that inhabit the caverns, Aislip, the Draugr Lord, will initiate dialogue with you. He asserts that the Draugr are actually not his kin, and that his story is quite different. He tells you that he was once a powerful Skaal, but after delving into the black arts, he was banished and eventually came to inhabit these caves. He discovered that a number of Frost Daedra reside in the heart of Solstheim, near to his cave, and that they were hell-bent on destroying the Skaal. He erected a barrier to contain them, but so that he could guard the barrier for centuries to come, he turned himself into an immortal Draugr. After this exposition, you are given a choice. You can simply kill Aislip and take his ring as proof that you killed him, or you can help him destroy the Frost Daedra once and for all, which will allow him to die and finally rest. Either way, you get his ring and return to Korst Windeye, who asks you to meet him later at the Skaal village. You will find that the village is under attack by a horde of werewolves when you return. Like with the Imperial Captain earlier, the chieftain of the Skaal will have disappeared after the attack. The shaman now assumes effective command of the Skaal, and he instructs you to retrieve the totem of Claw and Fang. However, this is not before he tells you that you're infected with lycanthropy. Luckily, this is pretty easy to fix if you just drink a cure disease potion or use a spell. If you fail to cure your lycanthropy, then there is some differentiation in the main quest, but it remains essentially the same. Retrieving the totem of Claw and Fang will allow for the performance of the Rishtag, a spiritual hunt that will bring favour from the Allmaker. It is located within the tombs of Skaal Ara, a dungeon infested with countless werewolves. After retrieving the totem, you will join Rolf Longtooth and two other hunters in performing the ritual hunt, which involves killing this spiritual white bear. After you and Rolf find the other hunters mauled to death during the hunt, you two are soon attacked by a pack of werewolves. After this pack has been defeated, the bear appears, and after killing it and collecting its pelt, you can return to Korst Windeye, who tells you of a new mystery that plagues the island. Hundreds of hawkers have been found dead on the shores of northern Solstheim. This is yet another sign of what is called the Bloodmoon prophecy. The other signs have been the fire on the lake, which hasn't stopped since the Draugr Lord's death, and the increased presence of werewolves. These signs portend to the coming of Hircine and his hunt. You are sent to Castle Karstag, an ice fortress, as this is the closest dwelling to the northern shore. It is your job to establish what happened to the hawkers that have perished there. The castle is only accessible through an underwater entrance. When you enter, you encounter the Reekling called Krish, who is a servant of Karstag and tells you that you must help him kill all the creatures infesting the caverns underneath the castle, in return for him allowing you to enter the castle itself. After all the creatures have been killed, he will lead you into the castle. After speaking with the Reekling commander called Dult, you will learn that, as with the Skull Chieftain and the Imperial commander, werewolves have abducted the giant Karstag, and that the Reeklings of the castle have nothing to do with killing the hawkers. There is no other option than to return yet again to Korst Windeye, who tells you that there is nothing to do other than to wait. He explains to you that the blood moon has now come, as evidenced by the crimson moon in the sky. He explains that there will now be the Hunter's Game, initiated by Hircine, which seems to vary from era to era. In previous games, the Hunter has killed entire tribes, whilst in others he has killed just one man. The only thing to do, according to the shaman, is wait and rest and see what form the Hunter's Game will take this time. For your services to the Skaal so far, you are given a home in the village. It seems sensible that you should sleep there for a few hours. Or maybe it's not such a good idea, because when you wake up, you are abducted by a band of werewolves that take you to the Mortag Glacier. There, Hircine confronts you. He explains how the hunter's game will work. There are 4 individuals who are the prey. You, the Imperial Captain, Tharstan Heartfang, and Karstag. You are all placed in this elaborate maze full of werewolves, and you must find your way to the centre of the maze in order to escape. The other 3 individuals have already been in the maze for a number of days, and so are ahead of you. In the first section of the maze, you have to find the key to the next section and fight off countless werewolves while you're at it. You will meet Captain Carius, who suggests that you work together. He will help you fight the monsters, but when you retrieve the key and are about to proceed to the next section of the maze, he stoically decides to stay behind and keep the werewolves in this section from pursuing you. In the second section, you will encounter the Skaal chieftain. Like the Imperial commander, he will help you to defeat the werewolves in this part of the maze. However, when you open a chest when looking for the key, Tharstan will reveal himself to be a werewolf. He possesses the ring of Hircine and has secretly been waiting for the hunt during his time as chieftain. After defeating him, you can loot the key to the next section from his body. In the final section, you will find the giant Karstag, who is instantly hostile. After defeating him, Hircine will appear and ask you which attribute is most important for a hunter to have. He allows you to choose between strength, speed, and guile. If you choose strength, then a massive, slow, lumbering bear will appear that you have to fight. If you choose speed, then an extremely fast wolf will appear. And if you elect guile, then Hircine will appear in his humanoid form, wielding a spear. Whatever aspect you choose to fight, after defeating it you will be rewarded with a corresponding artifact. So for defeating the hunter, you are rewarded with a magical spear, for example. Hircine will now allow you to exit via a portal, and doing so will trigger the Mortag Glacier to collapse. During the ensuing cutscene, Hircine vows that he will return again for another hunt. For the final time, you return to Korst Windeye in the Skaal village. He comments that he has always had his suspicions about Tharstan being a werewolf, and that if the protagonist had been a native Skaal, then he would have been the easy choice for the next leader, but the circumstances demand that a native-born Skaal be chieftain. If the Imperial captain survived the endeavour, then you can also visit him at Fort Frostmoth. It is unfortunate that in the 4th era, the time of the Dragonborn DLC for Skyrim, the captain is resurrected by a necromancer. It is an unfitting end for such a valiant commander. Anyway, that is the end of the Bloodmoon DLC for the Elder Scrolls III Morrowind. This video has not included every single detail about the questline, so I recommend that you play the DLC for yourself to get a deeper understanding of what it is all about. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more Elder Scrolls content, then feel free to check out my channel. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.